Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, who's better than your mom at taking care of you when you're sick?
Also, a surefire way your pet can get you out of work. And more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
Going to the movie theater, the cinema as some call it, feels like harmless fun, doesn't it? We love the cinema here on the Riot. Talk about it all the time. But according to a recent study commissioned by online casino Betway for some reason, turns out going to the movie theater might not be as harmless as it seems. That's because they found in their study that there's significantly more bacteria on the average movie theater seat than there is on your toilet seat.
That's no good.
No good. They found that on average, there is 14 times more bacteria on a movie theater chair than there is on the average toilet seat. That's a wide margin, but that's not even the worst of it all. Worse than the movie theater seats are the movie theater cup holders, which contain, on average, 2,396 bacteria colonies. That is 18 times more bacteria than is found on the standard toilet seat. Makes you think twice about sitting down, putting your cup in there, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make you think twice?
Doesn't even make me think for a second about it.
It doesn't make you think once.
I think about all of the public places you go. It's all gross. There's bacteria everywhere.
Except the toilet seat.
Toilet seat's clean.
Notoriously clean, apparently.
You think about staying in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You think about using an elevator, a shopping cart, a water fountain, a restaurant, sitting down, eating some food, grabbing the menus, going to the gym, swimming in a swimming pool that I've probably peed in myself.
Yeah.
And you're going to complain about sitting in a chair at the movie theater?
Mm-hmm.
They're empty anyway. Who's going to the movie theater? All we talk about is how nobody goes.
Yeah, the numbers.
They should be cleaner than ever.
Bad, yeah. Maybe they just can't afford to pay anybody to clean the seats. I don't ever think it's fair. Every study about bacteria always compares it to a toilet seat because that always makes everything else look bad. But I always say this. You think about a toilet seat. What touches a toilet seat? The backs of your legs. What else touches the backs of your legs? Your pants. That's it. Why would the backs of your legs have a bunch of bacteria? Therefore, why would a toilet seat have a bunch of bacteria? Doesn't make any sense. Also, I was looking at the bacteria they found. And granted, they said in one of the cup holders there was mold out of all the ones they tested. But other than that, looking at the bacteria that they found on these movie theater seats and in these cup holders, nothing sounds all that threatening. It's just like, I mean, there's bacteria literally on everything. So you're always dealing with bacteria every day.
And I think too, like, I'm not saying that if you drop popcorn on the floor, eat it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying I think you're safe to sit down there. And it's always cold in there too.
Mm-hmm.
And so more than likely, you're going to be wearing a hoodie. You're going to be wearing a crew neck. You're fine.
You got some, that's medical protection right
also,
there.
why is it so cold in there?
I don't know. It used to be like in the olden days, I was like where you could go. It was hot summer day. That's
movie
why
theater.
Yeah, because of the air conditioning. But now, I mean, there's air conditioning everywhere. I don't know. I was also, the last thing I was going to say is, if you don't like seeing these numbers, you want somebody to test your couch where you're probably watching movies instead. See how much bacteria is on there. Bet you don't. You don't want to know those numbers.
Some people would say, I clean my own home.
Uh-huh.
Whereas the movie theaters, they doubt they get clean.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I would say, my couch probably is gross because I have a stinky dog in my house.
Yeah. I mean, movie theaters have employees that supposedly clean.
But they don't wipe down every seat. That's
Not
why
every-
this place is dirty.
Yeah, maybe so.
Add a little Riot to your Instagram feed. Follow at RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Isaiah, we're guys. We're dudes. You know what I believe many dudes, guys like us, bros, like to do? We love rankings. That's why there's a college football, college basketball rankings every single week.
I'm looking at a ranking right now while you're
ranking?
talking.
What's your ranking?
I'm looking at the ranking of the most unhealthy snacks. as you're speaking.
Yeah.
That's the kind of things I do while
What's
you
number
talk.
one?
I didn't want to tell you yet. I'll unveil that later on.
Oh, we got to work our way to the top. I think ranking stuff is usually fun, given stuff like power ratings and whatever. That's why we do Choice Champions here, drafting stuff. Isaiah, you want to do a quick Choice Champions impromptu draft, even though it's not a Thursday? Let's do it. Let's do Worst Sins. You get the first pick.
You got, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can rank them high.
You don't want to miss on this one.
I mean, worst sins. I mean, murder has got to be number one.
Murder,
right?
Got to be one of the top ones.
I'm taking murder at one almost every time.
I mean, that's a solid choice. Solid choice. You would regret it later if you didn't pick murder as the worst sin in the top of our Choice Champions draft. I was talking about this with Nene yesterday. We were talking about how it feels like people love to rank the sins. And isn't it so funny? They always seem to rank the sins, the ones really high as the worst sins are the ones that they don't do. But the ones that they probably do are like, well, that one's kind of,
Like lying?
Yeah, that's not, that's like barely, you wouldn't even draft that. That would barely make the draft at all.
That wouldn't even make that draft.
Yeah.
That might not even make honorable mentions.
That's an unsigned free agent, is lying. But what's crazy is that's not how God thinks about it. God is pretty clear that he is not ranking the sins. So if you think there's some either like, well, there's this certain sin, and if you do it, then that's it for you, and God is done with you and doesn't want to have anything to do with you. Or some people think this too. Well, maybe it's not exactly that way, but there's like a tipping point where if you commit 100 sins, if you do this one sin 1,000 times or something, that's it. Jesus is done with you. That's not how it is. God doesn't have a hierarchy of sins. He's not power rating every single sin you do, everything you do wrong and ranking it all up. And at some point you hit the point of no return. I mean, everybody sins. We've all made mistakes. We've all had our bad choices in life. Hopefully murder still pretty easy to agree, still comes in near the top, but that's more of a legal thing and less of a how God sees it thing. God sees everybody worthy of forgiveness, no matter how many times, no matter what it is you've done. Jesus wants to take you back. He still loves you. He still wants a relationship with you. And that's an amazing thing. So stop worrying about the sin power rankings. Stop worrying about how other people judge the sins that you've done and rank them, and start worrying about what God thinks, because he loves you and he wants to be with you in your life and help you through every single day. If you're ready for that, start talking to him wherever you are. Just say, hey, Jesus, I want to know more. I want some of this. And you can go to RadioU.com/free gift as well.
Nobody does it better. The Riot Radio U.
It's a sad time in the town of Charleston, West Virginia. Isaiah, have you ever been?
Charleston. I don't think I've been to Charleston, West Virginia. There's Charleston in the Carolinas, too. That's the bigger one.
There's several Charlestons.
Yeah.
But the one in the West Virginia is the one that we're focusing on. And it's a sad time there because
we're going through sad times.
Yeah. Yes. It's a sad time in Charleston, Virginia, because the town is set to lose their beloved Hooters.
Hooters?
Yeah. Yeah.
No chance.
Hooters is about to go by the wayside in Charleston, West Virginia.
I'm not playing sad music for a Hooters going out.
Shockingly, Charleston, West Virginia can no longer support their Hooters anymore. And so coming up this Friday, this is a very big moment for the city of Charleston. And so on Friday, at the location of their beloved Hooters in Charleston, West Virginia, specifically in Kanawha City, that area, there's going to be supposedly a candlelight vigil as a proper send-off to the Hooters of Charleston, West Virginia. There's
a candlelight vigil?
Yeah, so that the whole town can come out, the whole city can come out and
the
show
whole
its
city
support
ain't coming out
for Hooters on its final days. You want to hear what's crazy, though? I mean, that's not crazy enough. This Hooters closed 4 years ago.
What?
It closed 4 years ago.
Then why are they talking about it now?
Because it's about to get demolished.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I think that they They said they were going to reopen is the thing.
Yeah, and now that's definitely never going to happen. It closed 4 years ago. You know what happened 4 years ago is COVID. And so it seems that COVID, one of its many victims, was the Hooters of Charleston, where they posted out, this is back in 2020, "It is with heavy hearts we have decided to close until it is safe to do business again. We treasure our loyal customers and employees and look forward to coming back even better." Those customers clearly were very loyal because 4 years later, they're hosting a candlelight vigil to say goodbye to Hooters before it's demolished to make way for a new Sheetz. So the hand strikes and gives a flower.
But these guys, the guys that are upset here about this Hooters going away, they're not satisfied with the Sheetz. They weren't worried
I don't think so.
They weren't worried about food, Hudson.
I don't know. They said that
I'm looking at the comments. I'm looking at the comment section.
Yeah.
And they're still replying, "Please reopen soon." Still waiting. If you show your face at this candlelight vigil for the Hooters closing, your wife should never forgive you. There's no way you can live this one down.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. But I don't know. It could be a type of thing where at first it was just going to be a few sad guys, but now that it's kind of become a fun online thing, it'll be a real community building event, and just the whole town will come out possibly. It says
Not 4 years later.
It says that one last time, even though the restaurant's been closed for so long, they are going to have one last time, the wings, like Hooters style, and the goat cheese, the goat sandwich, the strip cheese.
Oh, jeez.
They're going to have it.
See, if you're still upset, so upset that you're willing to go to the candlelight vigil 4 years later, then your intentions are in the wrong places. You cannot care this much about a Hooters. Or you can't care this much about any restaurant.
Yeah, forget about Hooters.
Forget about Hooters.
Uh-huh.
Yet again, your wife should be ashamed of you.
Yeah.
The stories you love with the opinions you hate. The Riot Radio U.
You should open up the Riot hotline for this one.
877-2-RADIO-U.
What is one thing that someone did that changed your opinion of them for the better?
That's a great question.
That last part is important. Because if I said, what's one single thing somebody did that changed your opinion of them, I can imagine we'd get a million people sending stuff in. I saw my girlfriend cheating on me, and so that massively changed. Well, yeah, obviously. But what are some things, singular moments or like individual kind of actions that somebody did that are like, well, now actually, I think a lot better of you now. I'll tell you the reason. I think this can be for people you know, can be for celebrities, because the thing that got me thinking about this, we talked about yesterday on the show, the new movie, The Iron Claw, starring Zac Efron. Very good movie. Didn't get nominated for any Oscars. A lot of people are upset about that. I'm one of them. Zac Efron, the star of the movie, does a great job. And previously to this movie, I think I'm not alone thinking of him as more of a pretty boy. Didn't really seem like a serious actor. Like maybe talented, but he never showcased it. And then he goes ahead in this movie and does something you didn't expect he could do. Totally changed my thoughts on him. Now, next time Zac Efron has a movie coming out, maybe it's a serious movie. Maybe it's a movie that actually will make you think a little bit. It's not just him with his shirt off, even though he does have his shirt off a lot in Iron Claw. So what's one thing that somebody did that changed your opinion of them for the better? 8772-RADIO-U.
I think a lot of people think probably in their day-to-day lives.
Mm-hmm.
I think a big one is like how you treat other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of character values here. Even when you have no benefits, those are big ones for me. Another one, your awareness. That's a big thing that I've been talking about recently. Is like your awareness of a situation or how somebody else is acting.
Yeah.
If you know that somebody else is going to get really upset if they lose the board game, then you just let them win. And so sometimes when you see people do things like that, when they have high awareness about maybe another character flaw in an individual in the group, and they cater to them, that's a good way for me to look at them and say, very good. That changes my opinion of you immediately.
That's a good point. That is That's a good one.
Because there's certain friends that you have where you have to cater to them more, whether they just like get annoyed easily or they have a short temper or whatever it is. And so I'm someone who I know my friends really well, so I can cater to them, even though they never cater to me. But I can cater to these weenies that are my friends. And so if you can also cater to them, then I'm always impressed with that character ability.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, just knowing sometimes when to hold your tongue when somebody has an opportunity to say something, and then they go ahead and they just don't, because that's something we could probably learn here on the Riot. 8772 Radio U. What's something that somebody did, whether you know them or whether they're a celebrity, whatever, that one thing that totally changed your opinion of them for the better? 8772 Radio U. Isaiah, I've got one that if you haven't thought of it yet, you're going to kick yourself for not thinking of it.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
You know, this one belief, I didn't know they thought like that, and so boom. Yeah, there's a million examples of that, but how can somebody quickly change your opinion of them for the better? Jeffrey says, Chris Rock, when he got slapped, he took it like a champ. He wasn't upset, but honestly concerned and played it very cool. That's a good answer.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I asked my wife this question last night. She said the same thing. Chris Rock standing up there, not fighting back, not, just literally rolling with the punches, was pretty impressive. Susanna says, when somebody apologizes for something they did that they knew I didn't know was them.
That's a great one.
Man, that's huge. Yeah, somebody could get away with something and they still feel like they need to apologize. That's a big boost. And then Regina says that when she learned that Ashton Kutcher is heavily involved in catching sex traffickers. I didn't even know that. But assuming that it's true, I don't know why Regina would lie to us. That's impressive.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's a good trait. That's a good, obviously, a great cause to get behind. Here's another one, Isaiah. Way less important. But the number one thing that I think changed my opinion of somebody, the biggest it would be 180, right? 180, because 360 is just
all the way back around.
Yeah.
Yep.
The biggest 180 is when LeBron left Miami to come back to Cleveland. I
spun it back.
Hated LeBron every moment of his NBA career until I'm coming home. I'm coming home. And I'm not even a Cavs fan. I was just like, him going back to Cleveland, I appreciate that. And ever since then, I've been kind of a LeBron supporter.
So you were a hater of Miami. He said he's going to come back to Cleveland. And then all was forgiven.
Turned it all around.
You unburned the jersey. Let LeBron come back.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a great one.
Yeah. Another one I have, this is way different. But when I was growing up, then this is one of the first ones I thought of too. When I was growing up, my pastor at my church, Pastor Jim, everybody has a Pastor Jim, I feel. Pastor Jim, when I saw him watching a show that had a curse word in it, and you're like, what? He was watching a curse word show, and that changed your opinion of him for the better? Yes, because has anybody had a guy like this, your pastor, who, it wasn't like he was a strict guy. It wasn't like he was angry or anything, but he just seemed like the type of guy that you picture him. He would like preach in church, and then he'd go home, and then he'd sit in like a dark office and just have like one light shining on him as he flipped through a Bible. And that's like the only way you could picture him. And then I happened to see, I was over at his house one day, and he was watching TV. He was watching some normal show. It's probably Law and Order or something. And not only that, but at a curse word, it's like, oh, this guy's like, he's all right. Like, he's normal. Like, he just made him normal. And it's like, that totally changed how I viewed him in a positive way.
Another one for me. This has happened to me recently. As my girl E is meeting a lot of my friends, a lot of my girlfriends, a lot of my guy friends, introduced to people that she's never met before. It's very difficult to be the new person in a lot of groups. And so I really appreciate when people go out of their way to include someone that's new. And so like my girlfriends, obviously we're all hanging out in a big group with all my friends, but my girlfriends who have like asked her if she wanted to play the games and go out of their way to talk to her, even though they don't have to do that. You don't have to do that with someone who's new, but they do it anyway. And that makes me really appreciative towards those people. And another person who turned their life around, RDJ.
Robert Downey Jr.
He is. I think everybody, once he started hitting it off with Iron Man, I think that changed the way a lot of people looked at him.
I didn't have a built-in opinion of him before Iron Man, but I do know that, he had some...
Wasted talent is what he was called.
Rough.
If podcast awards were ever a thing, this show wouldn't win any. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Up in arms over a appearance on a local New York City TV station from this past Thursday. The appearance made by the NYPD dance team. Social media not pleased that the police department for New York City has its very own dedicated dancers. And they showed up.
What?
They showed up on news station PIX 11 in New York City on Thursday to perform their routine. The video has gone viral with people questioning, why does the NYPD have their very own dance team? And particularly people wondering, comparing it to, like, are they actually paying these people to do this when, like, they're cutting library funding and school music programs and all the other things that we'd love tax dollars probably to go to. Instead, people are saying it's going to this dance team.
Well, the city of New York has to feel safe knowing the dance team is there to protect and serve.
Yeah, they do. I was reading more, and I don't know if this makes it better or worse, because I was like, well, is this like their job? Do they have, was there like a job?
No chance,
was there
right?
just a job listing put out on Indeed or whatever, sign up for the dance team, and then it was by the NYPD. But apparently these gals, it's all women, it seems, they do this after. So these are police officers, and these ladies will practice after their like patrols are over. It says they practice 2 to 3 times a week for 2 to 3 hours, usually after a shift patrolling the streets.
So these are all officers.
There's actually officers, and this dance thing is another thing they do. They started doing this in 2022, but it's not clear to me. I mean, I think they're getting paid for it.
No, they're not. They cannot be, right? This is a group. This is an after-office activity. This is like if you and I went and did some dance thing after we got off work. There's no way we're getting paid for that.
I don't know, but I hope that's true, that it's like this is their,
club.
NYPD, the police officers, that's their job. And then this is just, they have the shirts, but it's like, we're just affiliated with it.
It's like if we had like a softball team here at RadioU.
Right,
like
you don't
a
get
men's
paid
league
to go play.
softball
Yeah,
team.
right, to go play in softball.
No.
Which, by the way, the New York Police Department, I don't know about softball, but it does have, along these same lines, its own paintball team, rugby football club, and pistol team.
Oh, the pistol team.
Yeah. You'd think they'd be good at that.
My next question, where are they performing? Where do they go? And they do this? Because I'll tell you this much. This dance routine here they did on PIX, whatever this news channel is, I mean, it's not my favorite. It's not the most impressive one I've seen. They're okay.
It does
this isn't
have...
like if you showed up at any event and did this dance, people wouldn't be like, holy moly, stomp just happened. Like, no.
It does have, watching the video, it could be the setting, but it does have more of an air of like an aerobics class, like a video aerobics class that your mom will watch on YouTube more than like an actual dance team.
Like America's Got Talent or something.
Also could be because it's in a TV news studio and not like where you would normally see dancers. But you asked where they perform. I actually know where they perform.
Oh, no.
They perform at police versus firefighters games. We all know like those. That's a thing in New York.
Got it.
Also galas. And this is
vague.
I think this is helpful. They go to schools to promote physical and mental health as well, which is important.
I hate it. I'm not going to lie. I hate it.
If they're not getting paid, if this is just a hobby,
I know it's
and they're
a
just
hobby.
wearing the NYPD shirts.
I hate it.
They all happen to be police officers, And this could be a thing, too. It's like, hey, look, we're police officers, but look, we like to have fun,
But
too.
we dance.
Yeah. We're not just out here pulling people over and whatever. We're not just the meanies that stop the bad people that are going to stop you from speeding or, jaywalking. We're also like to dance.
Yeah. I hate it. I'm not going to lie. I hate it. I hate every second of this.
It's the riot.
Thanks for watching the worst of the riot. Since you made it this far, you might as well like, subscribe, and check out riot.radiou.com for even more riot.